My 19F partner's dad, 60M, has been acting really off the past few weeks and has been refusing to talk about it. The other day he was driving me somewhere and said he wanted to talk to me about it, so thinking it would probably help him to get it off his chest, I said sure. One thing to understand about him is he is very spiritual, very into meditation and balancing your energy and all that sort of stuff, so it's making this very confusing and I'm very conflicted about it all. He told me that it all started a few months ago when he walked in on my partner giving me head. He said he saw my pupils dilated as I was clearly sexually aroused and my arms above my head, and he saw my armpit hair and got this overwhelming sense of wanting to bliss me out with cunnilingus, oral sex, but made it clear that he didn't want to have intercourse with me. He said it wasn't in a sexual way, but a sensual way because he wanted me to embrace my goddess, spiritual term for inner self, as a sensual being. On top of all that, he told me that my earthly goddess, physical form, was beautiful and that he really likes my neck and the shape of my breasts. He claims he just wants me to be confident in myself and not be self-conscious because I have nothing to be self-conscious about, and I'm a beautiful young woman who is more powerful than I realize, and I should carry myself around the world with that knowledge. He admitted that he was ashamed for thinking what he thought and for visualizing it and everything, but that he wanted me to walk away from the conversation feeling good about myself because that's how he intended all of that to come across. I don't think he's talked about it to anyone else, and I haven't told my partner yet, partly because I don't know how, but also because I'm still trying to understand it all myself. I trust him and I know he wouldn't do anything to me that I didn't want, but there's just this unease I feel around him now, and he looks at me almost like there's this secret between us, and it's really unsettling. I don't want my partner to confront him about it because what if he takes it the wrong way, or what if I've taken it the wrong way and it was all harmless? I really don't know how I feel about it all. Obviously I'm embarrassed that he's seen me in such a vulnerable position, and the fact that he wanted to bliss me out like that is really weird, but maybe I'm reading into it more than I should and he's just talking about me embracing my goddess and learning to balance my energy. It's been a couple of days since the talk and I'm so confused and I want to tell my partner, but I just don't know how to. Edit. When he mentioned seeing my armpit hair, the reason he wanted to bliss me out is apparently because he likes things to be natural, and he said it could be called a fetish, which made me really uncomfy and super conscious of my t-shirt sleeves whenever he's around. Relevant comments. Commenter, hey, how old is your boyfriend? If his dad is 60, my guess is he's probably around 30? I think creepiness runs in the family. OP. Nah. My partner is 19 but has an older sister who's nearly 30, my partner is the youngest of 3. Commenter, although you're technically an adult. You're significantly younger than this man, and this is grooming behavior. That feeling that you're getting of as if there's a secret between you two. That's because he manipulated you and essentially sweet-talked you into feeling grateful for his frankly creepy, unwarranted, and dangerous way of approaching this. Get away from that man. Tell you're so. How did he even walk in on you and you're so anyway? Has this happened before? OP, my partner still lives with their parents, and because of study and work I live with them too, and there's no lock on the bedroom door. Usually he'll knock. I don't even remember him walking in on the instance he was telling me about. Small update, last night I was making tea, and when he came up to grab his mug he brushed my hair away and was looking at my neck. It made me so incredibly uncomfortable, and I'm definitely going to tell my partner. He's been saying a lot lately about how his memory isn't what it used to be, and sometimes he can't get words out when he knows what he wants to say, so I'm going to bring up that it could be some sort of health concern when I talk to my partner. Thank you so much to everyone who offered help and support. Update 1. I told my partner and they were shocked and disgusted that their dad would do/say something like that. They've been super protective of me and not let me be alone with him at all, and the only reason they haven't gone nuclear on him is because I asked them not to. He got me alone again this morning when my partner was out at work and no one else was home, and we talked about how it was uncomfortable and it really just sounded creepy the way he was trying to justify it all. He brushed my hair away from my neck and held my face, and I said it was uncomfortable and didn't like it, and he kept doing it and just said some BS about me needing to learn to be comfortable being vulnerable and ask myself why I'm uncomfortable, and it was just a really unsettling thing, especially because he did all that while claiming he respected my boundaries. He said he wanted to consume me and talked about how he wants to help teach me how to harness and embrace my goddess, and when I told him I didn't like that he brought up so much sexual stuff, he said that that was a part of getting to know yourself and learning what you like, and it just made me feel so icky. I'll keep updating as things progress and keep myself safe. Thank you so much to everyone who gave advice, and especially to those of you who are spiritual/tantric practitioners who said it wasn't normal behavior. You helped validate my experience and feelings, and I feel less guilty. Update 2. So since everything in that post happened, me and my partner and him all talked about it, and it was awkward and horrible, but in the end I thought we'd resolved it, or at least come to some sort of conclusion. Since then everything's been relatively normal. But today my partner's dad came into my work to talk to me about everything. I work in a pretty small store, so it's quiet most of the time. In essence, he said that seeing me in that vulnerable position, receiving oral sex from my partner, unlocked his feminine side, spiritually. He told me that he's a lesbian, but he doesn't want to change his gender or anything, and that he doesn't see me as someone he wants to have sex with, but as a lesbian lover. He said he loves my insecurities, and he loves that I have insecurities because I don't need them. I'm very beautiful and I have a beautiful body, and he's jealous of it. He admitted that when I gave him a hug recently, he nearly kissed the nape of my neck, but just as he was about to, he stopped himself because he realized what he was doing. He told me that when we had that big chat with my partner about everything, it hurt that I saw him as a dirty old man, but if I saw him as a dirty lesbian, it would be fine. He said that every moment he's focusing on me, he's making love to me, spiritually. He said that he doesn't get hard anymore. Obviously he said not to tell anyone, and that's where I'm torn. It's such a bizarre thing for him to say to me, and I don't want to out him if that is genuinely how he feels, but it's seriously making me so uncomfortable and I just don't know how to deal with it on my own. Also, how the fudge do I just say to my partner, "Hey, your dad told me he's a lesbian"? When he said goodnight to me just now, I was alone in the kitchen and he put a hand on my shoulder and said, "You are so beautiful." I just kind of looked at him and didn't say anything. I've already told him my boundaries and that I don't in any way reciprocate those feelings, but he doesn't seem to respect that or understand that I'm uncomfortable because that was never his intention. And in him saying all those things, he just wants me to be confident in myself because I'm beautiful and he adores me. I genuinely don't know what to do. This is such a fudging weird situation and I can't deal with it. I told my best friend and she said it's serious sexual harassment and I need to find another place to live. After the whole nearly kissing me thing, I don't have much faith that he wouldn't actually do something or try something, and I'm so scared. I was finally at a point in my life where I was relatively happy and confident in myself, and he's just taken it all away from me. I want to change every part of myself so he won't be attracted to me. I want to shave everything. Body hair is a fetish of his, and when I told him I wanted to shave my armpits because of him, he said, "Don't do that, they're beautiful," and get more tattoos or cover myself in scars. He likes a clean skin, just so he won't find me beautiful anymore. I hate that he's got this much power over me, but I just don't know what to do. Relevant comments. Commenter, yeah, so your partner needs to move out of his dad's house, and you need to stop going there. Full stop. The dude is a pervert, and he's trying to manipulate you into seeing him as a viable sexual option. At the very least, he's engaging in a fetish and subjecting you to that. Your lack of consent, or pushing your consent, may even be part of that fetish. Remove yourself from that situation entirely. If he comes into your work, either someone else can serve him or he can leave. You do not speak to him. Update 3. TLDR of my previous posts, my partner's dad has been sexually harassing me and trying to pass it off as some spiritual bullshit. Then he said he sees me as a lesbian lover, but that he isn't trans or anything. Okay, update. Everything was fine, I thought we'd moved past it, famous last words, I know. He went for a walk a couple days ago and sent me this text. Please don't share the problem with having a pancake butt, combined with a muffin top, is that the muffin pushes down on my pants and there's nothing there to hold them up, just my slippery slide butt. So whenever I go on a walk, I'm constantly pulling up my jocks and jeans without trying to be noticed. To add insult to injury, when I lose weight, the pancake gets flatter and the muffin seems to stay the same. I'm cursed. I like pancakes on their own, but those days are gone for me. What the actual fuck? How is this on any level okay? What could have possibly possessed him to think this was an okay thing to send to his son's partner? Then he goes around the house making all these comments about how he's alone and no one cares and he's always fucking up and embarrassing himself and he doesn't deserve shit. I'm fucking miserable, but it's not financially viable for me right now to move out. I don't have my license or a car, neither does my partner, and my work is a short walk from the house, so I couldn't even move too far away unless I transferred to a different store, which I don't know if I could do. Plus there's a bunch of other stuff I can't go into without sacrificing my anonymity. I need to get out of here, but I just don't know how. Relevant comment. Commenter, document/screenshot every incident, then tell him outright that if he keeps it up, you're taking all the evidence and charging him for sexual harassment. Don't wait for him to keep it up. Press charges anyway. Update 4. After that ridiculous pancake butts text, I decided enough was enough. I sat down with my partner and told them everything, from the initial conversation about his spiritual awakening to the creepy message he sent. I didn't hold back this time. My partner was livid. They said they'd confront him and that we needed to start figuring out a plan to get out of there as soon as possible. The confrontation didn't go well. My partner was calm at first, just asking him why he thought any of this was okay. But then their dad started going on about how he was misunderstood, how he was just expressing his love in a pure, non-sexual way, and how we were the ones who needed to be more open-minded. That's when my partner lost it. They told him he was a pervert, that he'd crossed every possible line, and that we were done putting up with his nonsense. I'd never seen my partner so angry before, and honestly, it was terrifying. Their dad just stood there, wide-eyed and silent, like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Then, out of nowhere, he started crying. Not like normal crying, though. It was this weird, silent sobbing, like he was trying to make us feel bad for him. He kept saying how he was just trying to be a good mentor to me, and how he only wanted to help me embrace my true self. At that point, my partner and I just left the house. We drove around for a while, trying to figure out what the hell to do next. We decided to crash at a friend's place for the night, and we've been here ever since. I haven't been back to the house, and I don't plan on going back until I can grab my stuff and get the hell out of there for good. Here's where it gets even crazier. While we were at our friend's place, my partner got a call from their mom. She told them that their dad had checked himself into some kind of spiritual retreat for a few weeks to reconnect with himself and purge negative energies. I have no idea if this is just another one of his delusions or if he's actually trying to work through his issues, but at this point, I don't care. We've decided to move in with our friend for now while we figure out a more permanent living situation. I'm looking into transferring to a different store and getting my license so I can finally be independent. It's going to be tough, but anything is better than staying in that house with him. I'm still processing everything, and I'm not sure what's going to happen next, but one thing's for sure, I'm done with his spiritual bullshit and his manipulative mind games. My partner and I are focusing on each other and getting our lives back on track without his toxic influence hanging over us. Update 5. Well, if I thought things couldn't get any crazier, I was dead wrong. So, after the whole spiritual retreat thing, we thought we'd finally have some peace and time to figure things out. But then yesterday, my partner's mom called us, frantic. Apparently, their dad escaped from the retreat.
Yeah.
You read that right, he literally packed his bags in the middle of the night and took off. No note, no explanation, just gone. We were all freaking out, wondering where he could be and what he was planning to do. My partner was worried he might try to find us, so we were on high alert all day. I even told my boss what was going on and got permission to leave work early, just in case. And then, late last night, we got the answer we weren't ready for. He showed up at our friend's place. My partner and I were just watching TV, trying to unwind after a day of stress, when we heard this loud banging on the door. Our friend went to answer it, and the next thing we knew, there was a full-on shouting match happening in the hallway. We ran out to see what was going on, and there he was, looking like he hadn't slept in days, ranting about how he needed to reclaim his energy, and that I was his spiritual twin flame. I swear, my blood ran cold. He kept going on about how the retreat opened his eyes, and made him realize that he and I were cosmically connected, and that I couldn't just cut him off, because our energies were intertwined. My partner lost it. They told him to leave, that we were done with his crazy antics, and that he needed to get help, real help, not this spiritual nonsense. But he just wouldn't listen. He started getting really aggressive, saying we were all blind to the truth and that we were trying to destroy his soul's purpose. At that point, our friend had enough and threatened to call the cops if he didn't leave. That finally got through to him, and he started backing off, but not before giving me this intense, almost pleading look, like he was begging me to understand him. He kept saying, "You'll see, you'll understand one day," and then just walked off into the night. We immediately called my partner's mom to let her know what happened. She was devastated, but not surprised. Apparently, this wasn't the first time he'd gone off the deep end like this, though it had never been this bad. She said she was going to try to get him into some kind of intensive therapy, but honestly, I don't know if it'll work. The guy is too far gone in his own delusions. Right now, we're all just trying to process what the hell happened. My partner is furious and feels guilty for not realizing sooner how bad things were getting with their dad. I'm just numb, I guess. It's like I'm living in some twisted soap opera, and I can't believe this is actually my life right now. We've decided that moving out isn't just a priority, it's a necessity. We're planning on staying with our friend until we can find a place of our own, but we're also going to be extra careful. My partner's mom is trying to track down their dad, and we're considering a restraining order if things don't calm down soon. I'm just praying this is the last of it, but with everything that's happened, who knows? Relevant comments. Commenter, this is getting seriously dangerous. I think you're right about getting a restraining order. You might even want to involve the police if you haven't already. Stay safe, OP, and don't let your guard down. OP, we're definitely looking into all our options, including the police. We've been pretty shaken up, but we're not going to take any chances. Thanks for the advice. We're trying to stay as safe as possible. Commenter, honestly, I don't think you'll be safe until you're far away from him. He's delusional and fixated on you. Maybe consider moving out of the area altogether? OP, we've talked about that too. It's not going to be easy, but getting away from him is the top priority. We're weighing all our options right now. Update 6. This is the last update I'll be posting, and honestly, I'm relieved to be closing this chapter of my life. So much has happened in the last few weeks, and it's been a whirlwind of emotions, but we finally reached the end, though not in the way I ever expected. After that night when my partner's dad showed up at our friend's place, things escalated faster than I could have imagined. My partner's mom managed to get in touch with him the day after he stormed out, and apparently, he was in some kind of manic state, refusing to come home and insisting that he needed to follow his spiritual path. He told her he was leaving town and that we'd never see him again. We didn't know whether to believe him or not, but we were still on high alert. My partner and I agreed that it was time to involve the police, not just for our safety but to try and get him the help he clearly needed. We filed a police report, and they started looking for him, but since he hadn't committed any crime besides harassment, which was hard to prove at that point, there wasn't much they could do beyond keeping an eye out. Then, a few days ago, we got a call that changed everything. My partner's dad had been found hundreds of miles away, in the middle of nowhere. He was in a small town, disheveled and confused, and he'd been staying in a rundown motel under a fake name. The motel owner called the police after he started ranting about cosmic love and goddess energy, and they took him in for a psychiatric evaluation. It turns out he'd had some kind of major mental breakdown. The doctors said it was likely a mix of untreated mental illness and his obsession with these spiritual delusions. He's now in a psychiatric facility, getting the treatment he should have gotten a long time ago. They're still assessing him, but it looks like he'll be there for a while. My partner and I were shocked when we found out. We didn't expect things to go this far, but we're both relieved that he's finally getting the help he needs. It's sad, and my partner has been dealing with a lot of guilt, but we both know that this was the best outcome given the circumstances. We've decided to move out of state. We found a small apartment in a city far from everything that happened here, and we're planning to start fresh. My partner's mom is supportive and understands why we need to get away, and she's even helping us with the move. I've transferred to a different store in our new city, and we're focusing on rebuilding our lives away from all the chaos. As for me, I'm still processing everything. It's been a roller coaster, and there are days when I still feel uneasy, but I'm starting to find peace again. I'm working on reclaiming my confidence, and I'm learning that my worth doesn't depend on anyone else's perception of me, especially not someone as disturbed as he was. We're done looking over our shoulders. We're done with the fear and the uncertainty. We're moving forward, together, and we're ready to leave all this behind us.